In this video, let's talk about how to create your website. Of course, if you're non-technical. If you're technical, you're probably just gonna create it yourself in a day or two if it's a simple website. So this video is not for you, but if you're non-technical.
This video is brought to you by EpiPies Academy.
You probably have these questions. Should I do it DIY, try to figure it out by myself? Like usually people figure out Wix or WordPress or even HTML coding. And if you choose Wix or WordPress or anything else, like which one should you use? Those are the typical questions that we're going to answer in this video. So if you're not a developer, there's a very simple answer. You should outsource. Because even if you figure out how to create your WordPress website, and you should have a working knowledge of it and you should be able to edit it, so play around with it a little bit because you will need to make edits long term, but you're going to end up spending 10 times the time to create your website and it will still look amateur because you're not going to know how to customize the themes. Theme is what they call the design in WordPress. And a WordPress developer, they've done it before your site probably hundreds of times. So they'll be able to go in there in a day or a few days. They should be able to go in there, boom, 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 update everything and make it look nice and professional. So if you have a relatively simple site, like 5 to 10 pages, maybe a blog, maybe even you sell a product or two, then that's a WordPress, no problem. You can also do Squarespace. The difference between WordPress and Squarespace is WordPress, you're able to customize a lot more, and Squarespace is kind of pre-built, and Wix is just another version of Squarespace. And I think at the moment Squarespace is probably better, but I think at the end of the day I would just go with WordPress, and that will make your life easier because then you can just hire freelancers and you don't have to worry about the look and feel. The content of your site, you are responsible for that, but the look and feel and the design, that's something that's something that a developer can do for you pretty quickly. So if you're deciding Shopify versus WordPress versus Squarespace versus Wix, the reason some people use Shopify is for heavy e-commerce. So if you have a specifically e-commerce store, then of course you want to use Shopify. But WordPress also has plugins to help you have e-commerce. So you can do that with WordPress as well, no problem. It's just Shopify has more robust features centered around e-commerce. And then Squarespace and Wix, they're more like drag and drop, easy to create the site. But the most popular platform, and I think over 21% or over 22% or something like that of all websites on the web, they have WordPress underneath. So that's probably overall the safest bet. Now, I want to clear up one confusion. You can get a free domain name like yourdomain.wordpress.com. Don't do that. You will need hosting and you will need to buy a domain name, and there's options to get a free domain name. But in this video, I just want to make sure that you understand, get your own hosting, which is usually $5 to $10 a month. Get your domain name, which is usually like a one-time fee a year, small fee. And you want yourname.com, not yourname.wordpress.com. Yourname.wordpress.com looks extremely unprofessional and it's extremely hard to do business that way. Your business is just not going to work because people won't buy from a site like that typically. So there's plenty of options, like Bluehost.com is a popular hosting option. Even GoDaddy, which most people don't like, but it's still popular. And there's many options for them. They're pretty much a commoditized thing. So you'll need a domain name, hosting, and then on your hosting you would install WordPress as the CMS, and then you'd give that to the developer, and the developer would just customize the WordPress, which is going to be how the website looks to the consumers. So that should answer the questions of which CMS you should choose and should you do it by yourself and what to buy.